How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is my top maps video for Farming Simulator 22. With FS22 winding down and FS25 getting ready to wind up, I wanted to show off all the maps that I consider to be at the top of the heap. Now, in no particular order, we're going to start out with So in this video, you're going to see all of my 5 out of 5 rated maps, and Buckland Farm here is definitely a 5 out of 5. This is a map that is based in a real-life location in Somerset, UK, and this map, any map that is based off of real life, automatically kind of gets a leg up in my view, and the reason that is that real life kind of grounding allows it to be, rooted in something that's real and helps with that simulator vibe, that whole feeling of immersion. And this map really doesn't disappoint with that. As you can see, you're greeted with this beautiful starting location. Just looking out the driveway here and into an open field is just absolutely spectacular. And then if we kind of make our way around here, your starting farm, everything is customized, where you got a nice little custom chicken pasture over here. You got a custom cow barn and sheep barn here. So you start out with 3 out of the 5 animals that you're able to acquire throughout the game. And just looking around, just absolutely spectacular. You got tons of grass work to do, loads of arable farming to do. It is just amazing. And then you got this very nice UK vibe that's all throughout this map, which obviously makes sense. It's based on a real life location, so I would certainly hope that it would have that kind of a vibe. But I mean, just all sorts of different feelings when you are going around this map. You get a little bit of kind of industrial, you also get some kind of out in the middle of nowhere vibes. Just everything, every little thing is kind of touched and pecked on this particular map. It is just absolutely spectacular and absolutely deserving of a 5 out of 5 in my book. BallySprings is a fictional Irish map, but this map is an absolute spearhead trendsetter of a map. Let me explain. So you can see beautiful, beautiful map. If we look around just real quick, you see rolling hills in all directions, and it is just vibrant colors and just very, very lush in every way. But the reason that this is a trendsetter, the reason why this map is so amazing and so deserved of a 5 of 5 in my book, is because of things like this. We have our cow barn right here on our main starting farm, but look at that. Calves, yearlings, heifers, cows. You get more than just the standard animals. This map was the very first map that allowed you to have babies, males, females of each one of these animals, and different types of animals as well. There's ducks, there's goats, there's different types of pigs. There's just all sorts of stuff. But it just absolutely amazing, amazing map. And like I said, it is absolutely gorgeous. You kind of start, hovering around and taking a look at the map, and you've got so much to do. There's tons of grass work. There's a little bit of arable farming, but most of this is going to be grass. Most of this is going to be just, mowing and cutting and baling and doing all that stuff. But this is also a great map for multiplayer games, single player games. It doesn't matter. There's multiple farms for you to set up on. You can be on your main starting farm, which is right here in the middle, or you can be on one of the several others that are marked here on the map. And each farm has its own flavor, its own kind of flair to it. It is just absolutely spectacular. This map is just absolutely stunning. And then not only does it have the custom animals that allows you to kind of, take in the whole flair with that, but there's custom traffic splines to where you're going to see tractors and farm equipment just trekking around right here. There you go. Just kind of wandering around the entirety of the map. It is just an absolutely amazing example of what can be done on Farming Simulator 22, and I wish that every single map was even a tenth of what this map is. If they were, then every single map would just be an absolute 5 out of 5 every single time. Every single time. That's how good this map is that if it was even a tenth of as good as this map is, they would all be 5s. Every one of them. Just spectacular map. Love it. Neu-Minibrunn might be small, but it is mighty. This map, I fell in love with this map solely because of its aesthetics and the look of this map. So you take a look at this. Look at how absolutely gorgeous. Every single direction that you look in has something to just take in and be just absolutely breathtaking from. You start out in this valley that's tucked in between the mountainscape here. A couple of hot air balloons just hanging around overhead there. Just absolutely phenomenal. In every direction, got a plane that's just kind of circling the valley there. But if we take a look and we start, heading around here, yeah, just everywhere you go is just absolutely spectacular. You got a little bit of forest in here in the middle of the map. You've got plenty of arable land. You got plenty of stuff to do, and the road network is just unbelievable. This is a small map. This is absolutely small. You can see again, this is the full 2x by 2x, and you're taking up maybe 1x by 1x, maybe. And the road network is so all over the place, wiggles all throughout the terrain and mountainside, that the map just feels infinitely larger than what it actually is. But it's just an absolute perfect example of you don't have to use up the entirety of the map size. You don't have to have a full 2x by 2x map. You can get away with just having a smaller map, but having just such power and beauty compacted into one small area will allow you to just turn something small that may not be a part of the grander scheme of things into something that is just absolutely near without rival. I mean, just all the time and effort that it took to make the road networks just like this whole kind of built up ramp system, and you keep looking around and you got all these different little things that you can do. You've got a little buildable area right up here on the one mountainside toward the south. Just absolutely love this map, and yeah, this is absolutely deserving of a top spot here. Alma, Missouri, with its custom productions, its huge landscape, and American-sized fields. Holy smoke, is this map an absolute winner. This map, I just cannot state just how good this map is. Like I said, custom productions based off a real-life location. It is just absolutely spectacular. And one of the things that made me fall absolutely head over heels with this map in particular is this street heading into town being lined with the American flag like that is just that is an absolute win. This reminds me of where I grew up, just a small town in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, absolutely love it. Just all that pride in one strip of land. Look at that. Just love it, love it, love it. But this map has tons to offer. It has multiple farms, so it'll be good for a multiplayer game. Also good for just, one single person by themselves. Tons of farming area, tons of potential on this map. You can pretty much turn this map into whatever it is that you want. And the main starting farm itself is just an absolute monster of a starting farm. They did an amazing job with this one. Let me go ahead and zoom out so I can get there a little bit faster. But this starting farm right here, you start out the beautiful white picket fence along the entire property, the lime greenhouse, the big old silo system here, a bunch of storage. You got a big cow barn right here, and off separately is the silo or slurry hold right off of the back end of the property there. You got a sheep barn right here, a horse pasture. It's just awesome. This is amazing map. Bunch of junk. It's highly detailed. It's just, yeah, lots and lots of details, lots of stuff going on in this map. And like I said, you can basically turn it into whatever it is that you want. You know, you've got water features, you got nice rolling, undulating hills. You just, yeah, long story short, this one easily gets a 5 out of 5 and earns a spot in my top maps. Court Farm Country Park is a map that is based on Banwell, Somerset, UK. It is based on a real-life location, and I tell you what, this map is absolutely gorgeous. Just like the other maps that are based on real-life locations, they are already a leg up in my book. And as you can see, lots of things going on here. Lots of fields, small to medium-sized field, a couple larger sprinkled in there, but mostly farming, a couple of grass fields, but I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on. And look at this, the gentle rolling hills just leading out into the distance there. Absolutely beautiful, this map. You can see the little like waving grass that's right there in front of us, the flowers and whatnot, just absolutely stunning at times on this map. And this map has a wild card to it. It's a little bit of an X factor. You can have rabbits on this map, little bunnies on this map. We'll go ahead and get a couple, and heck, let's get a couple of let's see, there they are. Look at that, just little itty bitty bunnies just hopping around and having a good old time. You got to love it. You know, this map was one of the first, if not the first map that actually had some kind of difference to it in regards to the animals that were available on it. And it basically started, I don't want to say it started, but it basically was the pre-runner to us getting things like baby animals and all that stuff. And that's really awesome. I mean, just rabbits in general just led down the rabbit hole, pun intended, to get things like the chickens, the ducks, the goats, and all the other things that kind of came after. It's amazing. And you know, might not be that they worked hand in hand and you know they worked together or anything like that, but it's just one of those, you know, one thing happens and then you start getting those, you know, dominoes getting to be knocked down behind it. And just looking at this map, just the absolute beautiful nature of it. I mean, you just look at this little creek area, this little bridge, this little stone bridge right here. Just again, small little features, details such as that just can really make a map. And because this is based off of real life, it has that real life feel that gives you the kind of grounding of realism and the immersion factor that a lot of maps, if they're based off of fictional locations, really sometimes struggle to capture. But this one, I mean, it hits it. It just absolutely gives you that immersion, and yeah, just absolutely love it. This one, I think it speaks for itself why it would be a 5 out of 5 in my book. In Mason County, a map loosely based off of West Virginia's side of the Ohio River farmlands. This map is a forestry map with some farming, or some farming with some forestry. Either way, awesome map and a ton of stuff to do on this map. This is a poor boy map, and you know, when you have a poor boy map, you're going to have all sorts of different stuff that you can do, from all sorts of production points that are custom to the map, to farming, to forestry, to whatever your heart desires. And then just look at this. We are up on top of one of the fire towers here on the map, and you just look around and it just looks like it's just nothing but forestry. But if we actually take a look around and we come out of the forests, we see what's beyond the trees. You get such cool little features. The train that goes all the way around the map here, and then eventually we start seeing signs of life, and those signs of life just lead you to such cool just some cool sights. I mean, you just really kind of make your way around and you really start to see just what is available to you out here. And again, you get the custom production points, custom buildings, and the whole 9 yards. So let's go ahead and head out to the farm. Now, the farm here is actually kind of a different animal here, because it's not really a starting farm per se. It's really just kind of a holding site, more or less. You got a little farm right here, little trailer there, and some buildings, but this is really it. This is it. But then you also get the beautiful waterfall. I mean, again, you just have so many things that you can kind of look around and just enjoy just visually. But then you take into account all the undulations, all the different landscapes that you can deal with on this map alone. I mean, look at this. You go up here and now you're into forestry, and you're in just really deep wooded areas that you can come up here and just get lost in and just do all sorts of forestry work if that's what you want to do. Hey, if you don't want to do forestry work, well then why not go back out and do some farming? But again, each one of the fields are just uniquely shaped. They're not really like just square and basic. There are a couple here and there. I mean, yeah, you got a couple right there. But it's really just a map that is just really situated to be a very unique gameplay, a very unique style. And again, it's really dealer's choice. It's whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be farming and that's what you're interested in, then do that. If you're wanting it to be forest, then do that. If you're not wanting either one of those, if you want to just come up with your own kind of, thing, then do it. It's awesome. And again, you get all these little train trestles, the rivers. Just, yeah, very, very nice map. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Poor boy very, very often gets very high grades in my book, and I think this kind of shows why. It's definitely up there. Galgenberg is a map that is based out of, I believe, Germany, and specifically it says the Engen-Danau district town. Based on what I can tell, this is a German-based map based on a real area in the world. And this is one of the first maps where when I first loaded into it, I was left speechless. Just seeing this, when you first come into the map, wow. You just kind of overlooking the town. You got the little waterfall right over in that area there. Just, yeah, fantastic. You're right in the middle of a cow pasture, actually, at the animal dealer to start out with. So seeing the cows just starting to walk in front of you and kind of doing their own thing while you're just kind of standing amongst them was very nice. But the beautiful just mountainous areas in and around this map, the rolling hills, and the details, the amount of details is just on this map was just stunning, just absolutely stunning. It was actually one of the first maps as well. When I first loaded into it, I was almost kind of put back by it because it almost was too real. And what I mean by that is when it first loaded, when it first came out, this map actually had a bunch of borders for the roadways. And what I mean by that is when we go out to the very edges of the map, there were barricades and blockades and stuff like that that prevented you from going outside the map. As you can see, this is an example of what I'm talking about. You got the logs in the middle of the road and all this stuff. But on the other side of the map, there was it was farmers' protests where there were like farm equipment just kind of stacked at the edge of the roadway and blocking you from passing, and it was a bunch of protesting signs, and it was almost fourth wall breaking, but that was later removed in later iterations of the game itself. And I mean, even still, like, it was actually right here where the protesting were. Now it's kind of replaced with what appears to be like construction or, things in progress. But you have these areas here, like the soccer fields, that you can actually utilize and, have contracts for grass care. But just the nature of this map is just wow, just absolutely beautiful. And you can just kind of go from level to level to level, because the southern portion is like the lowest level. You got this little construction area, which they have this little 2-track just kind of leading around as they're repairing the pipe work here. Just the details, those small little details that most of the time you're not even going to really pay attention to as you're kind of making your way around the map. But when you're first loading into the map, when you're first kind of getting familiar with it, it's those small details that really just kind of smack you in the face and really make it to where it's something special. And that is what I felt when the first time I loaded into this map, is just seeing those kind of things, those kind of details. Again, you've got this little jungle play area right here. Like, it's like a little park, but just like a slide built into the hillside here. A little campfire and all this stuff. Like, it's just small little things that, unless you were just kind of wandering around or just kind of doing your own thing, you'd never even know they were there. You wouldn't even pay attention to them most times. But they're there. And it just makes it just that much more special, that deeper layer of awesome, in my opinion. And again, another reason why I think this is a 5 out of 5. Maypole Farm is a fictional Irish map that gives you a load of stuff that you can focus on. So on this map, the vast majority you can see is you've got fields, and more fields. But you do get a good amount of grass and other things that you can do as well. You got a couple of forestry areas in the north and the south. You've got grass fields that are just kind of strewn about. But what's really cool is the modularity. This is by far, I think, one of the most modular maps that we have available in Farming Simulator 22. But part of that modularity is the animals that you have. 700 cows in this cow barn. You have another one just behind me that's 800 cows. You have a sheep pasture here with room for 2,000 sheep. It is massive. But part of that modularity also includes these light poles. These light poles, if you take a chainsaw and cut them down, it removes section of the walls here. So all these walls will just disappear, just poof. So that's really cool. So you can really kind of, change the map around however you see fit. If you don't want these walls and you want open pastures, and be like, boom, there you go. But the other modularity that's available on this map is, if we take a look at, any one of these other farms that are on the map, and this is a great multiplayer map, but if we take a look at this one here, if we wanted to spend $46,000 and purchase this is just the main farm area. That's it. I mean, there's no animals, no nothing in that. But if you purchase this one here, this is the chickens. So $2,000 and boom, you have chickens. You got $31,000, you have pigs. You got $24,000, you have sheep, and you have $47,000, you have cows. You can slowly but surely buy and buy and buy and buy and build up your resources until you have enough money to get the thing that it is that you want. So you can change this map, you can buy certain components, like you can just do however you want, and you can just be slow and methodical about it. A lot of those maps don't. And then on top of all that, the layout and the beauty that is part of this map, the gentle rolling hills that just lead from one field to the next, that's all outlined by these bushes that just provide a natural barrier between you and the next part of the map. You have to learn the road structure on this map in order to be able to find anything here. And the roads, I mean, they're really unique. You have to know where you're going and what you're doing in order to get from place to place. But then you start going into the kind of more built up areas, and yeah, it just looks natural. It just looks very nice, and everything just kind of fits. So, even though this is a fictional map, it's a brilliant fictional map. Very, very good. And again, between the modularity, the color palette, the terrain, all these different things makes this one a 5 out of 5 for me. Chipping Norton is a map based off a popular location in the English Cotswolds, and specifically it is based off of the television show Clarkston's Farm. This is the map that the whole television show is based around, and specifically Jeremy Clarkson and his farm. This is a really, really cool map because, again, it is based off of real life. You got that beautiful real life look and feel, the gentle rolling hills. Again, just the look and the feel of this is stunning. But then you get small details. Again, not even small. This is flat out details of things like this. The multicolored hen houses that were on the farm. Just that is cool. And it's just those kind of things that you'll see all over the place on this map. The restaurant and the little farm shop that's on this map, again, is just one of those where it's just a really cool thing to see something that you know in real life and then be able to actually see it in the game and be able to kind of interact with it, to play on it, and to kind of do what it is that you want to do with it. It's just, I think that's just fantastic, being able to do things like that. Yeah, and a lot of people who are familiar with the show will know exactly what this is. I mean, this is fantastic. This is a little shop that they have at on their farm, and then back here they have their restaurant that they opened up. Just all those things are fantastic. You can take supplies to the restaurant. You can, do the farming beside it. I mean, just again, just all those small details that you have come to know and love in the show are here on the map. And anytime that you can just kind of replicate real life, again, you're going to create that immersion factor and give yourself something really grounded in a world that you want to be in. And I think that this map just goes to exemplify just how natural and beautiful that the area is in real life, but then just to actually see it come to life on our television screens is just next level kind of stuff. Now, yes, I'm sure there are things that are kind of taken for granted or just kind of exaggerated for the map, like this little area right here. Sure, fine. I highly doubt that any of this actually exists in the real world, but that's fine. That's fine. You still have to make this kind of in the world of the game, but the fact that you can clearly look at several key factors on the map and be able to be like, you know what, I've seen that before, I know this exists in real life, and I'm gonna just kind of run with it. That's really cool. And again, you get a map that's based off of real life, you get a map that has that kind of immersion factor to it. It's going to be very, very easy for me to leave it in my tops list. Fichthal V2 is a Bavarian map that offers a whole bunch of different farms, different ways of being able to do things, mostly arables, but you do have quite a bit of forestry as well. But there are custom productions, which are really, really cool. You get certain areas here where there are apple trees that you can purchase and utilize. They then get sent downstream to other productions and so forth, so on and so forth. So you get this kind of really cool kind of addition to the production chains. You also get a very gorgeous map to look at, and custom traffic splines, which anytime you can see things like that, I think is just really cool. It just adds, again, that little pizzazz, that little punch of flavor that a lot of maps just don't really get. But you can see just the, again, sweeping rolling hills, the odd shaped fields, not very worker friendly, but because you have these nice shaped fields, these kind of odd shaped fields, it's going to make the jobs just that much more interesting and, in my opinion, more fun to do. You get a lot of different areas to look at and kind of things to kind of just take in and really kind of chew on. Like, you look at the landscape here. You have a field that's growing on this hillside here. You have to really think about how you're going to work on a hillside like this and the type of equipment. Now, again, all the fields are not that huge either. So you're mainly using small to medium sized equipment because of the road networks and the landscape and all that, but you have to have enough equipment to be able to have the power to be able to work on these hillsides. So just all in all, it is just an absolutely gorgeous map. And as you kind of go around and just kind of take in all the sightings and all the just beauty that is here, you get to have this kind of just natural feel for the map. This is one of those maps that, even though this isn't necessarily based on a real place as far as I know, it just feels real. And then a lot of that has to do with a lot of the custom buildings that are here. You can see everything is fitting for the landscape and terrain that they are building here. This whole map just is custom. You're not seeing the basic, everyday kind of mods and, buildings and all that stuff that would come with the base game. You're getting all sorts of stuff that just makes the world come together. And that, when you have a fictional map such as this, really helps when you get all the buildings that are just unique and custom to the map, rather than just taking, kind of a la carte from things that are already made and established. And again, you get little things like this. Just, again, small details, small things that add up, and it's like each little grain of sand eventually adds up to that mountain. And yeah, this definitely is a mountain, in my opinion. And again, one of the reasons why it's up there for me. Carpathian Countryside is a fictional map that is based on Western Slovakia, and what can I not say about this map? This map is fantastic, from the giant starting farm to the very highly detailed production points laid out all over on the map. Details, details, details. This map has details. Holy smokes, this map is amazing. If you take a look at the main starting farm, this huge mega cooperative that is here, this is a behemoth of an operation. To be able to get this up and running off the ground is just a Herculean task, and very, very fun to utilize and to have as a prospect. But then you look around at all the various production points and buildings and all this stuff. Yeah, a lot of them are like the base game kind of stuff with a little bit of window dressing, but that window dressing helps so much. You look at all the scooters and the vans and the cars and the bikes. All that stuff just helps to add to that level of detail that makes you forget that, hey, this is a base game building. You got the trash cans. You've got all this junk piled up in the back here. I mean, look at that. That is really cool. And again, it just helps to just delve you even deeper into that immersion. We go over here to the carpentry area and the sawmill. I mean, again, base game, but because there's so much stuff that's in and around the area, you forget about it. You don't even really notice it unless you're just really trying to notice. I mean, look at all this. There's so much going on, so much detail that is just fantastic. Yeah, the layout on this map as well. I mean, the huge, massive fields just creates a ton of work to be done. And again, we take a look at the base game. This is all base stuff. But I personally, I forget that this is base all the time because of just how much detail and how much stuff that just kind of distracts you and takes away from it. This is a perfect example. This map is an amazing example of what you can do if you're going to dedicate yourself to using base game models and stuff like that. It really shows that if you just take the time to really build up the area and make it look like it's lived in, that I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. And it just makes it feel like it's lived in. You have all this stuff here, and it makes it look like it's part of the map. It makes it look real. And sometimes it's hard to even recognize that these are base game stuff because of all the stuff that's going on around them. And then you just walk away from any of those areas, and then you just take a look around, and you get, again, the gentle rolling hills in certain parts of the map that just leave you almost breathless. Very beautiful landscape, amazing color palette, and yeah, loads and loads of fun to be had here on Carpathian Countryside. And again, why this is up there for me. Krumbach is a fictional mountainous map, and if you ever wonder what it was like to harvest your grains on the side of a very steep hill, well then look no further. This map, it gets intense. It gets intense. You can see just how much in just this one view alone the hills just undulate and just move around on you. But then if we actually look around just a bit, because here, I mean, that's just our starting farm there. But you look around and you can see just how much sweep each one of these fields have. Getting from place to place can be very, I don't want to say difficult, but it can be, because if you don't have the powerful enough equipment, then you're going to be kind of chugging along waiting to get up these sides of these hills and whatnot. And you can see just this little hill here. Yeah, it gets to be a little bit intense. And again, if we just keep looking around these hills, the sweeping undulations, and then you get little areas like this. Like this little area just off the bridge here where the river runs into this kind of I don't know if you want to call this a little basin or something, but I mean, just, yeah, just absolutely stunning. And again, you get all this just kind of tucked away, and is just got some very beautiful windy twisty roads that just makes delivering whatever your goods or whatever you have to transport, just makes it that much more fun. And yeah, it just makes it interesting having to go around. And because there's so much wind and twist and turns, it makes the map feel way larger than what it actually is, because you're having to kind of switch back up and down these mountain roads and kind of going around and whatnot. You don't get the luxury of just going right to or right from one location to the next. You basically have to be at the mercy of wherever the road is going to take you. And yeah, it can be a while before you make it from one place to the next. But again, you look, and just everywhere you see, you got the beautiful landscape, the rolling hillsides that lead to the mountainous areas. Just, yeah, all in all, just a lovely map, great color palette, and again, everywhere you look, there's something interesting going on. There's something really nice to look at. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to farm in a post-apocalyptic world where you are behind a great wall and Big Brother may be listening to every word you're saying, possibly even thinking, Well, Frontier is the map for you, and this map is absolutely incredible. As you can see, it is basically split in half, to where the one side, the south, is the actual farming area, forestry area, all this kind of crammed into one small space, and then the north is the apocalyptic zone. This area is just nothing that exists. And wow, is this map something fierce. A name that you'll see in this list repeated over and over again is going to be Zero Oito. Zero Oito is such an amazing map maker, and as you can see here, this is why. All the detail in just this one view right here, the city skyline right there in the background, and then in the foreground you get kind of the more built up, less built up area. But if we look around, just the details that is on this map, this construction area to start out with, the forestry area with all this dirt and collectible material just sitting down here on the ground. You've got the little river system, you've got the buildings and the custom production points, you've got all the tractors and just every little bit. Like, look at all this. You've got this containers equipment just kind of swinging back and forth. Like, this map feels like it's alive, and it has so much going on that just makes it feel that way. You got custom traffic splines, and then you've got the Great Wall, this big main gate area that is head up by whatever authority that is here. But on the other side of the wall is the Great Desert. Look at this. This is just wow. Absolutely incredible. Can make for amazing storytelling. And even if you're not doing this for storytelling, if you're just doing this to have a boatload of fun, yeah, you're going to have a boatload of fun, because look at all this. You have tons of material to collect. You have tons of farming to do. I mean, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you have so much just undulation and topography changes in one small area. This is basically two maps all rolled into one. It is just absolutely phenomenal. And again, the details. Zero Ito does an amazing job with figuring out how to put so much detail into one small package, into one little map. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they are just so aware of the ability to be able to cram all this into one small map. But wow, they do a fantastic job every single time, in my opinion. I have yet to come across a 080 map that I haven't been absolutely head over heels for, and Frontier is no exception. American Falls is one of those minimalist maps where you start out behind the eight ball, but in a good way. You start out with next to nothing in your name, and you are required to sit there and work and work and work until you have everything that you want and desire. And this map is just absolutely fantastic. Nice rolling hills, some higher elevations in certain parts of the map, but for the most part, it's just nice, gentle, and easy. You got the beautiful mountain backdrop there in the background, and this is what you're greeted with. But if we kind of start making our ways around, multiple farms on this one, so it's a good multiplayer map. This is just, it's just Americana, very much a very nice American styled map. The fields are very broken up. It's very Stone Valley like, in where it's got the very twisting turnings. There's a couple here and there that are, you know, a little bit more friendly to workers and whatnot, but for the most part, you're working, you know, manually. I mean, you're putting in a lot of hard work on this map. You can start seeing some of that coming into account right here. But I mean, it's a fantastic map, and it's a very almost small, very Midwestern vibe kind of map. And even though a lot of it does use some of the base game production points, it's still very solid in the way that's set up. You can see this is one of the fields I'm talking about here, how it's just very much broken up in basically because of this little inlet right here. It kind of makes these little peninsulas. But I mean, it's a fantastic map. It's got a lot to offer and is a ton of fun. It's going to require a lot of hard work, like I said, because you're having to do a lot of the stuff manually. You're not going to be able to just set a worker off and just kind of forget about them until they need help or that they end up in the river somewhere. But that's beside the point. Anyways, absolutely fantastic, beautiful map. And yeah, you're going to have an absolute ball doing it. And everywhere you look, you have beautiful mountain terrain to look at and the kind of background there. But in the main portion of it, I mean, yeah, you still got a lot of stuff that you can build up, a lot of areas that you can just kind of make your own. And again, you're going to have to put in a lot of effort, a lot of work in order to get what you want out of this map. But when you do, when you finally put in all that effort, you're going to get something beautiful out of it. WestBridge Hills 22 is the iconic remake of a classic map here. We have another map by Zero Ito, again, a running theme here, and this map over the years has been just integral to the Farming Simulator series, but this version, in my opinion, is next level. That iconic red farmhouse right there, oh, just absolutely fantastic. Then you take a look around and you can see the farm itself is relatively simple. It's relatively basic. A couple of, additional little chicken barn that kind of fits the theme here. You've got the little sheep pasture right there, but where you start to see things really take shape are these areas over here. What used to be, and I think it was FS19, just where the sheep pasture used to be, is now this huge industrial complex that has just grown and expanded. Again, you got all these base game production points here. You got, I believe this is, oh no, that's the food factory. I thought that was something else. So you got the cereal factory, you got the sugar mill, but it's all kind of built right on top of each other and just makes it look like it's all one giant facility. Then you got this kind of train yard back here, selling point. Is it a selling point? Yeah, I think it's a selling point there. But again, it's just, it was taking a very good base game American style map and then bumping it up to the next level. And this is the first map I can recall of seeing this actual animated cows at the animal dealer. And this really kicked it up a notch for me personally, because seeing this and just, again, making the details and the map just come alive was just absolutely fantastic. Again, you get another built up facility here where the grain mill is. You get all this down here where, again, it's just details, small things that just add up and add up and add up. You got the baseball diamond, you got going into town here, just next level good, next level stuff. You got the custom traffic splines, you got the beautiful town here, and then going into this kind of park area where it's just all built up and made to look very, very nice. You got the addition of the, what is this? The, why can't I think of it? Agricultural fair sell point. Yeah, it's just, Zero Ito just has this ability to take something that is kind of established, kind of, what ought to be basic, and is able to then kick it up to the next level with the kind of introduction of just small details, these small little things that when you just keep adding them and adding them and adding them up, creates something bigger than the sum of its parts. And yeah, that is the reason why I personally like this version of the map, and it earns a top spot. The Old Farm Countryside has been out for several versions for Farming Simulator 22, at least since 2017, and this version, I think, is the best of them all. With custom productions, custom animals, you've got all sorts of different stuff going on here that is just absolutely spectacular. It is a beautiful layout, beautiful map, and you really have to pay attention where you're going, how to make your way around, because there's certain ways in and out, and although it's a little hard to see on the map, it's yeah, it's just an absolute treat to go around this map to see what's all on it. So yeah, this is just absolutely spectacular. You get all sorts of custom crops. I think you get at least 3 or 4 different custom crops. You get all sorts of different custom productions that you can make from said crops. I mean, you get these nice windy, twisty roads that kind of lead in and out across all these little bridges over the rivers. You get pistachios and almond trees, so you get to use the shaker equipment. I mean, it's just absolutely spectacular, and it's just kind of nestled into these little ridges and hillsides and all this stuff. It is absolutely spectacular, and you just keep looking around and you get to see all the little treats that this little map has to offer. If I go over to the main starting farm here, you can see there are tons of these silos that are just kind of littered around all over the place, and each one of them holds their own unique inputs. So some of them will hold, like you can see here, almonds. You got one for pistachios. You got some here for olives, and so on and so forth. Just, I think that's really cool. I do like how each one of these little silos are specific to a crop. You're only going to get one crop in, and they have little storage bays right here beside them, so you're able to actually hold specialized equipment. So like you have the almonds and pistachios here. Well, you need a shaker in order to get that stuff off the trees, so you can just take the shaker and just plop it in there in storage. I just think this is a really awesome map, and it is the it came out almost immediately after La Coronella. Now, La Coronella I absolutely love. This one's kind of along the same vein, but I think the layout on this one is a little bit easier to comprehend. La Coronella is just an absolute beautiful map. This one is too. Oh, just, yeah, amazing, amazing map. You get the little town here. Again, you do get some standard, farming simulator models and stuff, but for the most part, this is a very unique, beautiful map with its own little flavor to it. Absolutely love it. The Forgotten Isles is a fictional map that is based very much on a swamp-like kind of environment. This map is actually really cool because of just the uniqueness that it holds. There's plenty of maps out there that use water features and stuff like that, but this is the first one where it's kind of like really integral a part of the map. And what I mean by that is that the kind of environment that you're finding yourself in is very unique, and you have to kind of just, at least I appreciate how that environment plays out. You can see, just looking directly in front of us here, you can see just how swampy and nasty this looks. And then you have to take into account that, hey, I need to actually figure out how I'm going to traverse and utilize this land. And the areas of where there's islands and stuff is relatively nice and clean and all that stuff. You get a little bit of a farm, nothing too huge, and then a secondary farm just a little ways away from this one, where you have some, I believe there's some animals tucked away. Yeah, you get like a little cow barn and whatnot. But I mean, you get to kind of island jump from place to place. You get to utilize water sources and all that. But you just get to kind of look around and you see all these little details of, somebody parking their boat up here on the marsh, might even ran aground here, maybe during a high tide. You get this kind of stuff here too. Somebody lost their baler just in the water. Like, that's, I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny. Like, just that, again, small details like that really hook me in. Now, yes, this map does use, standard production points and whatnot, but it's one of those where the map itself kind of allows you to just be immersed enough to where it's not going to kind of jar you out of it when you're seeing all those kind of standard production points. But for the most part, you've got tons of forestry you can work on. You got tons of farmlands. I mean, just all sorts of stuff. You got custom sell points, which is really cool. Again, I love it when map makers just throw in random vehicles and random things just around the map just to kind of make it look a little bit more busy. And this one does that. You see how you got these little dividers here, a little bit of a boat just hanging out here. I mean, just all sorts of stuff going on. But then you get to this side of the map, and you actually get this kind of cave system over here where you can get stones and all this stuff, kind of a sunken cave. You also get this area way tucked away back here, this big mountain area way back here. And if you go far enough, you will see you have this little like dirt bike course or monster truck course. No reason for this to be here other than, hey, this is cool. This is something to be interested in, you know, and you can come up with cool little stories or whatever. I mean, it's a cool concept. It's just really fun. And yeah, it's just a really versatile map for what you get. This map here is one of those where it's not a one-trick pony. You are able to do pretty much whatever it is that you want to be able to do in Farming Simulator, whether it's forestry, whether it's farming, whether it's, you know, mining. I mean, anything that you want to do, you are able to do it. And this one, yeah, I think that all those kind of factors combined allows you to really appreciate and, you know, bring out the reasons why this is a highly rated map in my book. Again, you get this nice little marshy area that you can kind of, you know, build up and take care of, get rid of all these trees, and then you have a little placeable area. You can build up the water or build up the land in order to get out of the water, or be able to even use your painting to, you know, put down a different texture here. So very, very cool. Absolutely love this map. Loch Coronella is a fictional map that has so much going for it. Loads of custom productions, loads of custom crop types and fruit types. You've got a beautiful layout from rolling hills all the way up to mountainsides. This map is just an absolute dream of a map. And again, the road network is so intricate that you see just a little bit of everything. You get the switchbacks in the mountain, you get the nice windy, twisty, hilly countryside roads. This map is spectacular. And as you can see, look at that, the nice mountainscape in the background. Beautiful, picturesque kind of landscape here. And this map is so much fun because of all the custom productions, all the sell points, everything that you have. You get 2 biogas plants, and each one of them produces their own outputs, different kinds of outputs. You got different kinds of outputs for productions. You got different kinds of inputs from the different types of crops that are on this map. It is just an absolute spectacular and a wonderful take on what can be done. This is one of the first maps, as far as I'm aware, in FS22, where it really utilized the whole concept of having to do forestry, because all the production points on this map requires pallets. Pretty much everything, unless it's like a liquid. But because that's the case, you really needed to be into doing forestry and be able to have enough to be able to sustain all that effort, all that work that you're going to do downstream. And if you didn't like forestry, you're probably not going to like this map, because you're not going to get too far in the ways of production and producing of anything else. You also get things like custom greenhouses that are going to produce different fruits and vegetables. Like, just so much stuff on this map. And it is just, I'm pretty sure it took me over an hour to do the tour when this first came out. It is just that involved, and it's only gotten more involved and more deep, and just more and more stuff just keeps getting added to it. This is one of the greenhouses right here, and it's just, again, just everything is unique and custom to this map. Is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite maps is Loch Coronella. Newlands is one of the first maps that really stretched the truth when it came to farming simulator. This map makes it to where you're not really per se a farmer. You are, but you're mainly a city worker. You're responsible for maintaining all these grass fields that are run along the side of the highway here. The rest of this is pretty much open grassland and forestry area. So this is a very forest heavy map with some grass work laid in between. But what's nice about this, and what I really love about this map, is that it isn't your stereotypical forestry map where that's all you have, where you don't have contracts and anything like that. But this, you actually have contracts. And as this map progressed and had more and more updates and more love treated to it, it got more involved, more involved, and more involved. And one of those involvements is the production system. It utilized and basically made it to where all the residents that are here in town are their own production sites. Not too many of those kind of concepts exist. So it's actually a very cool idea to sit there and think, oh, well, if I'm a city worker, what is it that I'm going to be responsible for besides doing grass? I'm going to be responsible for picking up trash. I'm going to be responsible for taking, pumping out septic wells. I'm going to be responsible for doing all this. And yeah, you can see just how you have the fields themselves are just kind of lined up along the highway here, and you get paid to maintain each one of these. You can make hay, make silage, but I mean, it's just a typical kind of grass care for the most part. But then you throw into account all of the various forestry areas, and you get I think this was the first map that really introduced the concept of recycling. And what I mean by that is that there's these little dump areas and specific objects that are all throughout the map. If I come across one, I'll point it out. But that make it to where you are required, or not required, but you can pick them up and then take them to the recycling center to get, there we go, to get some kind of money for them. So anything is tied with this little recycle symbol is something you can pick up and take it to the recycling center and get paid for picking it up and taking it off the map. It's a really awesome idea and concept, and they're littered all over the map. So you can really kind of make a good amount of money just by doing that. But then you just kind of revert back to this and growing your empire, growing your farming, your farm. And eventually you have something really cool to show for it, on top of being able to have a consistent source of silage, of slurry, of other products that you wouldn't normally be able to maintain. On top of that, you get all sorts of different products, different inputs and outputs. This here is part of the greenhouse system that you can actually utilize. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of things that you can do. You get a very minimal, small starting farm. This is it right here. You get 2 storage facilities, small sets of equipment. That's it. But that's a lot of the fun on this map, is that you're required to really hustle, work hard, and do something outside of the world of farming. Very, very cool, this map.